It's Magic Monday, baby. And we here. We live. And we got quite a bit of things to discuss today. We're going to have a good time. We got some videos to watch, quite a bit of videos to watch. And man, it's hot in St. Louis, but it is freezing cold in my parents' basement, man. I'm still here in St. Louis. I'm going to be here till, oh no, my phone fell. I'm going to be here till Sunday. So I'm going to be streaming, doing my thing here till Sunday. Mara, what's going on? How you doing today? Dark Dragon, what's going on? How y'all doing? How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun? I hung out with family for the most part. Let's see, Saturday. Fritz, what's going on? Fritz, how you doing? Always a pleasure to have you in the building. I can't wait to get my Fritz merchandise popping. I can't wait to get it. I just need a few more months, you know what I'm saying? One thing at a time, you did. But when we get that merch popping, you better believe we're going to get some Fritz merch going. Saturday, I hung out with my sister and my brother-in-law at their house. We watched the fight. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. T-Dub was, man, Terrence just outclassed him. He just a straight up better boxer than Errol Spence. After that first round, it was done. It was done. But you got to show love to everybody. You know what I'm saying? They're both elite fighters, but Terrence Crawford is just one of the best in the world right now. Hey, we got Sojourny. What's going on? Oh, a working weekend. Okay. But yeah, we gonna get this thing going. You know what I'm saying? If you got a bowl, if you got some coffee, if you got some wine, you know, well, actually, because I'm an hour behind here in Missouri, so it's about lunchtime. Out where I'm normally at in Jersey, it's about 12:30 right now, 12:25. So Fritza, you know, she may be having some Merlot, because wasn't it last time you was having some Merlot with your lunch? Fritza just does her thing. You know what I'm saying? Fritza walks around with her life just holding her pinky held high. Y'all remember that SpongeBob episode? You know what I'm saying? Where they was just extra fancy with that pinky held up. And Fritza hold both her pinkies up. You know what I'm saying? She be on international dance competitions. She can cook. You know what I'm saying? She be throwing down. She's part of a wonderful church family. Fritza's got a lot of good stuff going on in her life. Ooh, we on some house music type stuff today. Yeah. Oh, you spilled some coffee? Oh man. Well, let me take a sip of that coffee, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my brother Lawrence out there in Trinidad. Showing love. I always appreciate you for being here, my brother. Yes, sir. We got some funny stuff to go on. You say when you hosting hot tea? All right, let's go ahead and get this hit in, and let's see what we're gonna start off with today. You know, I'm really curious to see what the hell's gonna end up happening with Trump in this legal case. I asked Jank when I was on Friday. I asked him and Ray what they thought, and they don't suspect Trump to go to jail. I don't particularly expect it, but man, I mean, this dude has got some serious issues. We got some funky music playing in the background. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and take this hit so we can get into it. Hey. Fritza, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Jacques or is it Jacques? Put a 1 if it's Jacques. Put a 2 if it's Jacques. Put a 3 if I got both of them wrong. Put a 3 if I'm way off. Miss Jacques. So I take it Jacques is a French word. Because I know people named Jacques. Yeah, that you talking about Judge Cannon? Yeah, Judge Cannon can certainly do that. Dora always right on time. What we gonna start with today? Let's see. What we gonna open with? Mike Nice. Hey. He put 69. After they put 1, 2, or 3, he put 69. Hey, I ain't even mad at you. Oh yeah, you already know. We on the house music today. It's New Music Monday. Every Monday and Friday, my Spotify delivers me a big set of new music. Today it was a whole bunch of house music, and it was some good cuts. It was some good cuts. This is just from my phone right now. Hey, we got Bibliophile in the building. Uh, hmm. We got a bunch of videos today. We do. Hold on, let me separate my screen so I can get prepared. Hey. I got to get the speaker going so we can listen to the music louder. I'm telling you, it ain't gonna be long before I end up making some deals with people because they gonna know. Like, man, when Jackson streams, he just be bumping music. Mike Nice. Hey. All right, let's go ahead and take this here. We're gonna start off with this today. That's what we're gonna start out with. Charlemagne says America shouldn't have to deal with Trump's legal baggage. This can't be the guy they want representing them. Unfortunately, my brother, it is the guy that they want representing. Mixed Drink Monday. I like that better. We go on with that next Monday. Mixed Drink Monday. Ooh, this is perfect right now, is it not? Julio, my brother. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get it. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I had a lovely weekend with the family. Okay, got you. Miss Jacques. We got the 1804 in the building. I can't be getting your name wrong now, Fritzer. You know what I'm saying? I can't be doing that, so I had to be sure. All right, everybody, we're going to take one more hit because this is just a beautiful cut in the background. What is this? This is Shoot Me by Mandrill. So we're going to take one more hit and let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. We got Roxy in the building. Well, congratulations, my brother. I appreciate you, Kevin, for being here. Congratulations on the new gig. But don't you worry. We got a lot of programming now and a whole lot more programming coming. Because one of the things that we're doing here with this channel of Politics and Paper, in addition to, productions that I am and will be a part of, we're going to be bringing other people on board as well. So it's going to be plenty to catch up with. Vincent, my brother, what's going on? Always appreciate you for being here, my brother. It's Monday, so let's go ahead and get this thing started off right. Let's get the week started off right. We got some smooth jazz playing in the background. No, that's a fact. That's a fact right there. If you ain't choking, you ain't really smoking. If you ain't really pulling it deep down into your soul, into your spirit, then the THC just ain't doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what they got to say here. We're going to start it off with this. And once again, eternal shout outs to Brother Soul Life for hooking us up. Not only with this ad-free experience, but this free ad-free experience. I ain't even got to pay for it. So cheers, my brother.
Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis reaffirmed in a local news interview that she announced she will be making her decisions to charge former President Trump by September 1st in the investigation. Yet we knew it was coming, but she definitely said it's on the books by September 1st to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election result. Let's take a listen to what she had to say, and then I'll give you some more information on the other side.
The work is accomplished. I mean, we've been working for 2.5 years, and we're ready to go.
In preparation for what may be handed down, Willis has blocked off much of August for her and her team to work remotely, asking judges not to schedule trials or in-person hearings from August 7th to the 14th.
What gets announced more nowadays? Donald Trump indictments or Nick Cannon having babies? It's like either Trump got another indictment or Nick got another baby on the way. Jesus Christ.
One of the two. And speaking of protection and the importance of having protection, Donald Trump has a lot of mounting legal fees, obviously, because of so many cases. So now they've created a legal defense fund to help offset some of those fees. Now, this fund is expected to cover also the current and former aides who have also.
Brandy, pleasure to have you in the building. And that shoot, on Saturday, man, I took me 100 milligram edible, and I was at my sister's house. We was watching a fight. We was chilling, man. I was on that couch. I was on that couch on my ass, not moving, just enjoying myself. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel that.
Been wrapped up in the investigations. Now, previous to this, he had a Save America PAC. For those that don't know, a PAC is a political action committee, and they've already spent about $40 million on fees. But now that is draining, so they've started a new fund called the Patriot.
Speaking of $40 million on fees, I got that tab pulled up. We're going to go into that next. That's going to be a perfect transition.
Legal Defense Fund. And so a Trump spokesperson says they're blaming the weaponized Department of Justice, and they believe that innocent Americans are being attacked for being associated with Trump. But Trump has some choice words for President Biden. Check it out.
Smart people. They know what they're doing. They're at the top of their game. We have somebody that's not at the top of his game, never was at the top of a game, never was. We have a guy who's a dumb son of a and to allow this to happen.
Oh, I mean, Joe Biden could call him a criminal son of a bitch. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it can go both ways. And look, nobody is above the law. And at some point, Americans, even Trump supporters, have to feel like this can't be the guy they want representing them, because America has too many issues, right? There's too many things to deal with in America to have a president that has that much baggage and that much issues, because he's got his own distractions to deal with.
Yeah, but the problem is that, well, what you just said is perfectly rational and pragmatic. But the problem is that the Republican base, or at least enough of them, ain't rational and pragmatic. And that's the truth. I mean, if Donald Trump was to get another term, like, all he would do, it would just be scandal after scandal after scandal, just like it was. Andrew Conclusions, what's going on? Appreciate you for being here, my brother. But I mean, it would just be the same thing as his first term, honestly, just on steroids. It would just be even worse. There would be, um, more indictments, more issues. He would be even less focused on anything that Americans wanted to happen. It would just be the Trump show, like it always is. So, luckily for everybody, he's not really in that great of a position to win. But nah, if he was to become president again, I mean, it would just be a complete disaster. But speaking of, because one of the things that the reporter said in there was mentioned about his PAC spending over $40 million on his legal fees just in the first half of this year. You know what I'm saying? So we go ahead. Let's check that out. And two, I think it was, what was it, like $150 million that one of his PACs collected. And a lot of the money that he collected was for candidates that he endorsed. And then he barely gave any money to those campaigns. So let's go ahead and check this out. Donald Trump's main fundraising PAC reportedly spent more than $40 million on the embattled ex-president's legal bills in the first half of 2023. In a sudden development to come as Trump battles 2 federal indictments with a 3rd federal indictment potentially on the way, it was revealed that the former president's main PAC, Save America, spent tens of millions of dollars defending Trump rather than supporting his 2024 presidential campaign. Of course. According to ABC News, a financial filing detailing the exact amount Save America spent on Trump's legal bills is expected to be released today. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign spokesperson has released a statement and argued that the more than $40 million legal payments were necessary to protect the former president and his allies against the weaponized Department of Justice. That's what I mean. I don't know if I personally have ever heard of more expensive legal defense. I mean, you hear about hundreds of thousands of dollars, you hear about a couple $1,000,000, but I personally have never heard of this much money being spent on legal fees. Again, that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened, but that's a lot of money, man. The weaponized Department of Justice has continued to go after innocent Americans because they work for President Trump and they know they have no legitimate case. Oh, well, there you go. In order to combat these heinous actions by Joe Biden's crony, well, this is a quote. This is what the spokesperson said. In order to combat these heinous actions by Joe Biden's cronies and to protect these innocent people from financial ruin and prevent their lives from being completely destroyed, the leadership PAC contributed to their legal fees to ensure they have representation against unlawful harassment. Yes, again, because of course Donald Trump's totally innocent, 100% innocent, 100%. He didn't do anything wrong. He did everything right, and they still indicted him. All right, so we're gonna keep eyes on that. But again, I personally have never heard of a defense that's that expensive. Oh, so here we go. So here's even more in terms of how much money he spent. Hold on, what you say, Mara? Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, so other than someone like Sam Bankman-Fried, okay, there you go. There you go. Atticus, I'm about to pack the bowl again. You better believe that. We gonna get this thing going again. Okay, quote. Trump has spent over $60 million this year on two things: falsely attacking Ron DeSantis and paying his own legal fees, not a cent defeating Joe Biden. DeSantis campaign spokesman Andrew Romero said this weekend. Governor DeSantis' sole focus, by contrast, has been campaigning for this country's future. Oh, okay, whatever. These are just spokespersons' words, because we gonna get into how he's just absolutely tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung, I think he's caught up in some stuff right now, quickly fired back and seemingly called DeSantis a, quote, desperate idiot and an un-American moron. Only desperate idiots and un-American morons would take the position the DeSantis team is taking. Okay, so only desperate idiots would acknowledge the fact that Trump has 40 indictments going on at the same time. You know, it truly takes a genius and a brilliant mind to see that this really ain't that big of a deal. So let's continue. Special counsel Jack Smith filed a superseding indictment against Trump last week. The superseding indictment charged the already embattled ex-president with 2 additional counts of obstruction of justice connected to the alleged deletion of Mar-a-Lago surveillance footage from the summer of 2022. So that's going to continue to rack up a whole lot. But I mean, like, the idea that Donald Trump is a victim is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if he's a victim, then everybody's a victim. You know what I'm saying? If he's a victim, everyone's a victim. I'm a victim, you a victim. Ain't nobody responsible for nothing that we've ever done in our lives. All right, so let's see what Nikki Haley talking about. She talking about Mitch McConnell, who had that that health crisis on the Senate floor, or when he was talking to Congress. So let's see what she has to say.
You have just criticized Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, who's
okay. This is so stupid. This X right here. It's just this dude, man.
He won and had some issues in front of a camera this week where he seemed to freeze a bit. Are you confident in his ability to lead, because he says he's going to serve out his term?
I think Mitch McConnell did an amazing job when it comes to our judiciary. When we look at the judges, when we look at the Supreme Court, he's been a great leader. But I do think that this is one, we've got to stop electing people because they look good in a picture or they hold a baby well. We've got to stop electing people because we like them and they've been there a long time. That's actually the problem. You need to have term limits because we need new ideas, new solutions. We've got to have a new generation. I hit Republicans and Democrats. We are $32 trillion in debt. We're having to borrow money just to make our interest payments. I would love to say Biden did that to us, but Republicans did.
Daryl, thank you for asking, my brother. So typically Right now I'm in St. Louis, so I'm an hour behind. But typically, when I'm in Jersey, I do this live stream. I usually start it between 11 a.m. and noon. That's typically when I start it. As we move forward and I get, just more organized with stuff, I'd like for it to be 11 Eastern time. That's what I'd like for it to be, because that seems to work well for people. But right now, I typically do it between 11 and 12 Eastern time.
Did that to us too. Republicans in the 24 budget asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks. Democrats asked for $2.8 billion. Who are the big spenders there? What I am saying about Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all of them, know when to walk away. Know when to walk away. We have huge issues that need new solutions. We need new generational leaders. We appreciate your service. We appreciate what you've done. But this is why we will fight for term limits. We've got to get it done in America.
Donald Trump is 77 years old. Would he pass that mental acuity test?
I don't know. I say everybody should take it. I'm willing to take it. I think everybody else
You didn't
should
list
take
his
it.
name when you listed all those older Washington lawmakers.
That goes for all of them. You can look across D.C. They're all that. Of course, I'm talking about Trump. I've said that all throughout this campaign, that it is time for us to have a new generation. Republicans have lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president.
Yeah.
That's nothing to be proud of. We should want to win the majority. I've said that all throughout this campaign, that it is time for us to have a new generation. Republicans have lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president.
7 out of 8. That's a long time back. That's a long time back. Jesus Christ. I mean, obviously that's before I was around, but man, that's pathetic. And again, that's why they're doing everything that they're doing, because people don't want their policies. And now they're just lazily, fully 100% putting their rhetoric and their agenda on the culture war, because they ain't got nothing else.
Yeah.
That's nothing to be proud of. We should want to win the majority of Americans. We've got to start going with a new generation so that we can do that.
God, it's so damn cold here at my parents' house. It's so cold. All right. So yeah, I mean that's the truth. Off the top of my head, I don't really know what the term limit should be. I think that there's definitely a lot to discuss there. There's definitely a lot of debate to be had here in terms of an age limit, a term limit, how we're going to enforce that, when we could enforce that, when we're going to put those things on the ballot or whatever. So this is definitely a huge area of discussion that we need to continue to have. And it will continue to be a discussion that we have inevitably. And Mitch McConnell's health scare is one of many of those issues. One of many. Oh, yeah, the cat in the background just chilling next to all that alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Which cat is that? That's Dot. That's Dot. Yakko's somewhere else. I don't know where Yakko is right now, but that's Dot. But yeah, I think that's an interesting conversation to have. I don't know if term limits are more important than age limits. I know term limits could help to reduce corruption somewhat, but at the end of the day, if we don't do something about how much money just freely flows, then we're not ultimately going to get around the issue. So this is definitely an interesting topic. Oh, we got Aaron in the building. What's going on? Yeah, I don't understand. Yo, it is so cold in here. It's so freezing. And luckily, hold on, I'm about to put this on. Give me a sec. I'm about to put this blanket on my legs. Put this big old blanket on my legs, because man, my face, I got goosebumps all over my leg. Ugh, it's freezing. Old people just be hot all the time. My people old, so they just be hot. I don't know what the hell going on. All right, let's get into the next one. We got some more videos. Okay, let's watch this. This is hilarious. Okay. Trump is the most ethical American I know, his legal spokesperson gushes. Honestly, what kind of thing is that to say about anybody, really? I mean, let's be serious. I'm literally about to run upstairs and turn off the air conditioning. Like this is insane. Like what is going on? But like I said, this is literally this is crazy to say about anybody. You're the most ethical person I've ever met in my life. Like, okay, are you sure about that? uh, oh, you got 2 more weeks left on break. Oh, thank you so much, Daryl. I truly appreciate that. I truly appreciate that. Yeah, Maris, again, I think that this is definitely I think that this is definitely there's just a lot to discuss here because it's not so simple as, well, let's just do term limits. Because then again, it's like, well, if there's just term limits, then where does age really factor into that? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's see what this woman has to say. And yes, thank you everybody for tuning in who did tune in on Friday to the Power Panel, because that was a good time.
Hello from Fox News in Washington. Former President Trump, who remains the odds-on frontrunner for the Republican nomination for the White House, facing intense legal pressure. Indictments in 2 cases and under investigation in at least 2 others. New charges this week in a case that accuses him of mishandling classified documents, and potential indictments in a case alleging attempts to overturn the 2020 election, including January 6th, an alleged interference in Georgia, where this week barricades were placed outside the Fulton County Courthouse ahead of possible charges there. Joining us now, Alina Habba, legal spokesperson for former President Trump and general counsel for the Save America Leadership PAC. Alina, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Yes, Mara, that is facts. That is facts. It's not as freezing upstairs.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, so let's start here. The president said on Thursday he felt his legal team, attorneys, had good meetings with the Justice Department. But by that afternoon, he had been indicted on new federal criminal charges. Was that a shock to you? Are you bracing for the next indictment?
Nothing is a shock to me anymore coming out from this Department of Justice, this Biden administration. As President Trump mentioned, meritless Garland group of people. Let's be clear, this is election interference. So
Meritless Garland. Meritless Garland.
No, the charges are never a surprise to us because they can't stop him. He's got 18% turned of independence towards Trump. And this is what happens when you're winning in the polls and the Democrats can't win. They have nothing left to do.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I hate when Republicans say this because y'all just lost. Not just in 2020, you lost. 2022, you wasn't no red wave. You know, so Democrats can't win, so they have to do this. Like, no, y'all can't win. That's why y'all always cheating.
Another poll. This one comes out this week showing a majority of Americans, 51%, now do believe that President Trump did something illegal. Another 27% think he did something at least unethical. So how do you overcome that perception with jurors? That's the first step, and also with voters.
Yeah, I think with the facts. So let's talk about the facts, which the American people need to know. In that indictment, the new superseding indictment that came out, which they tried to get another headline for President Trump, was facts that said that President Trump did what? What was the obstruction of justice? Because no tapes were deleted. He turned them over. He cooperated, as he always does. But they would like...
No, he didn't. Eventually, he turned them over. It only took 1.5 years and a subpoena.
The American public to believe in these bogus indictments, that there are some facts that say that President Trump was obstructing justice. When he has his turn in court and when we get to file our papers, you will see that every single video, every single surveillance tape that was requested was turned over. If President Trump didn't want something turned over, I assure you, that is something that could have been done, but he never would act like that.
Okay,
he is the most ethical American I know.
Let's talk about the indictment, because you bring this up, and there are allegations now that he, with a couple of other employees at Mar-a-Lago, had conversations. There are allegations.
That boy Mick came in just on time. Look at that. Look at the timing of that. Fritz has said, "Where's Mick?" And then here he comes. Look at look at that. Sometimes things is just perfect. And the more I see in my boy Mick, the more I like him. You know what I'm saying? I told him before, we're gonna get some things popping for sure.
About trying to get rid of surveillance video once it was under subpoena. So let me read from the indictment. This is the new superseding indictment. D. Oliveira, the property manager there at Mar-a-Lago, told Trump employee 4 that, quote, the boss wanted the server deleted. This is where the surveillance video was. Trump employee 4 responded that he would not know how to do that and that he did not believe he had the rights to do that. Trump employee 4 told De Oliveira that De Oliveira would have to reach out to another employee who was a supervisor of security for Trump's business organization. De Oliveira then insisted to Trump employee 4 that, quote, the boss wanted the server deleted and asked, what are we going to do? You rightly say that the tapes were turned over. I mean, they're in custody of the Justice Department. But the question is, was there an attempt to try to make sure that didn't happen?
Well, let's be clear. If there was an attempt by somebody who lives in a home, take out President Trump, who owns a company, he owns it, he owns the IT, he pays for all these employees. If there was an attempt for him to not turn over documents or he wanted something deleted, do you not think that that's something he couldn't have gotten done? Let's just use common sense.
Does it sound like
it doesn't matter if he could have done it, he didn't do it. It's not, you know what I'm saying? And again, like this level, I keep saying it and I'm going to keep saying it. Y'all could just move on to someone else. You could just move on to someone else, but they're not going to do it. So, I mean, they have no credibility. They have absolutely no credibility. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene was just on the floor of Congress showing pornography. Like, come on, bruh. Let's just beat these people. And we don't need to try to work with them. We just need to get them out of here.
The American public forgets to use common sense.
I mean, that's the
Oh, we got Christina. What's going on? We got Andrew in the building. What's going on? Christina.
allegation is that he did try to talk to these employees and that these employees said, we may have to talk to someone else. I don't know that I can even do that.
Shannon, I know the facts, and the facts are when President Trump gets a subpoena, it goes to the organization.
Brewski Dragon. Yes, I'm having a great time with the family, and I'm going to be here till Sunday, so we got many good times left. And actually, I have a pretty light work week, so we're going to be kicking it. Thank you for being here.
And the organization turns it over. That is what actually happened. I've been an attorney for the president during this whole process, and I can assure you that is not the case.
Okay, well, innocent until proven guilty. He will have his day in court, and we will watch as that plays out. Alina, thank you for joining us again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay.
I mean, who on earth and who in their right mind would want to work with Trump? I mean, at this point, he's literally got the bottom of the barrel attorneys because it's not even a good look on your record. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, working high profile cases, even if it's someone who maybe is a criminal, it's still maybe a good look on your record as a defense attorney. But this really ain't a good look on your record because it's just nothing to do, and Donald Trump doesn't listen. He's always incriminating himself, and he's just going to continue to get himself into a deeper hole. But that was ridiculous. I mean, come on now. What? And though that's kind of as sophisticated as people's arguments or defense of Donald Trump is at this point. It's one of two things. Either they pretend like, our lying eyes can't see what's right in front of us. Like, I mean, what do you think? Don't you think that if basically it's, don't you think Trump would have given over the documents? Yeah, but he didn't until very, very, very late. Or it's like, yeah, well, I mean, so what? Look at everything that Joe Biden and the Biden crime family are doing. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at Chuck Schumer. Look at this. Look at that. Look at everything except for Donald Trump. So it's like, y'all know this dude has all this baggage, but you won't move on from him. Okay. Well, y'all finna lose again. And progressives, we gonna keep on taking advantage of not just federal elections, but state and local elections, because I mean, these people are just absolutely ridiculous. All right, what we got? Nah, facts, Mara. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this isn't even right. Parking lot attorney. All right, here we go. Ron DeSantis' newest problem. The majority of likely Republican primary voters don't want a candidate devoted to fighting woke. Well, at first they did. It wasn't that long ago when this is interesting because it wasn't that long ago when wokeness was at the forefront of Republican primary voters. But now it wasn't that long ago when Trump started criticizing it. Well, woke this, woke that. Ron DeSantis can't even define woke. Nobody can define woke. And so now I guess it's plummeting in the polls because You know, because Daddy Trump said so. Oh yeah, I had to. Well, now the AC off, so I'm about to take the blanket off. But I'm gonna be going back and forth from having it on to having it off because I'm in the basement and it is quite cold in here. I got goosebumps everywhere. You know you cold when you got goosebumps on your face, just like, oh God. Oh yeah, exactly. That's all this is. This is my player poncho. That's what it is. My player poncho. Speaking of player poncho, let me go ahead and we gonna light we gonna take a hit to that real quick. To me and my player poncho. If you got a player poncho, put it on. And then we gonna get into this because we got some good stuff today. Oftentimes there's not that much to discuss on Mondays, but yeah, nah, Fritz, look, I'm like after this, I wouldn't want to work with that attorney. Like, oh, I used to represent Donald Trump. Like, oh, next. That says a lot about you. No, thank you. My quilted player poncho. You know what I'm saying? One time for the player poncho. No poncho, but you still got the crazy hit. All right. Yeah. Republicans, they don't like woke no more. But yes, they do. They still on that woke. They still like the woke. They ain't on that woke shit no more, but yes, they are. Yeah, exactly. You admit that from the resume. Like, nah, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. It wasn't me. Nah, facts. That's what I'm saying, Mara. It's like, yeah, no, thank you. All right, so let's see what they're talking about now. You said, when are you going to introduce to the people who produced me? Ah, yes. Well, when we're out and about. Next time on Saturday, the whole family gonna be here. So I'm definitely gonna show that to all of y'all. But throughout the week, we're definitely gonna have some opportunities. So I'm glad you reminded me. Because we got it. I definitely gotta keep showing y'all around St. Louis. Okay, so now let's see what this is all about. Hold up. Okay. GOP presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis keeps hammering the idea that he's fighting wokeness. Likely Republican voters, however, told the New York Times they prefer the government stay away from limiting what corporations can support. And this is a result of many things, but his losing war with Disney, you know what I'm saying? It's a bad look. I guess they're tired of looking like losers or something. Whatever. But also because Donald Trump came out and now he's bashing the idea of woke this, woke that. Likely Republican voters, however, we said that. Despite this, DeSantis remains focused on attacking Bud Light for a short-lived and innocuous campaign featuring a transgender woman. He declared war on woke and made fighting wokeness one of the central points of his campaign. Okay, that was the bullet point. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, here we go. According to a New York Times poll, which was conducted between July 23rd through the 27th, so this is very, very recently, 52% of Republicans who will likely vote in the GOP primary election said they support a candidate who thinks the, quote, government should stay out of deciding what corporations can support, over one promising to fight corporations that promote woke left ideology. Well, I mean, hey, majority is a majority. You know what I'm saying? 52% is more than 51 and 50 and 49. So I guess the tides is turning even more on Ron DeSantis. This isn't ideal for the DeSantis campaign. whose biggest focus on the campaign trail has been how he plans to combat wokeness as president and the extent to which he's done so in Florida through his quote, Stop Woke Act, which currently cannot be enforced in higher education due to a temporary injunction, along with other initiatives. Yeah, okay. Hold on, what? Oh yeah, I guess so. Y'all over here. I'm about to get distracted with y'all. All right, here we go. As he continues to double and triple down on his anti woke shtick, it doesn't seem like it's doing him any favors in the race to become the GOP presidential nominee. Okay, so here's some more poll numbers. According to the same New York Times poll, support to put DeSantis in the Oval Office came in 37 percentage points behind that of former President Donald Trump. And this dude is so done. His campaign is so done. Who appears to be running off with the nomination as DeSantis, and every other GOP candidate has failed to keep up. But as his presidential campaign falters and likely GOP voters make it clear that fighting wokeism isn't a priority, DeSantis keeps belaboring the point. Okay, so basically he's still at it. So we gonna keep up with it. But this dude never should have entered the race. He never should have entered the race. He should have just waited and be like, you know what? I'm going to finish out my term as governor here, and then we'll take another look at it. Right now, Donald Trump holds supremacy of the party. So I think it's fair that, we go with what the Republican voters want, and that is not me. But he's too deep. He too deep in it now. He done stepped in it now. So, we'll see how far it goes. Okay. Actually, I think this has to be what we just went over in terms of some of those polling numbers. And yeah, in the third place is because remember, like every time something comes out, it's like Ramaswamy surges. Like, bruh, he's at like 4 or 5%. In any poll that Ramaswamy or anyone else quote unquote surges, they still like if they're still at like 5 points. Yeah, this is what we just wrote. This is what we just read, the 37 percentage points. But I think that here's a bit more breakdown of the numbers though. So in the overall poll, Trump was at 54% and DeSantis was at 17%. Bruh, it's so over. It's been over, but it's extra over. Despite everything that's happening, Donald Trump's just getting more and more support from Republicans. Former Vice President Pence, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and Senator Tim Scott each had 3%. Both Trump and DeSantis have strong overall favorable ratings from voters, with Trump at 76% and DeSantis at 66%. Well, so DeSantis hasn't lost Republicans totally yet, but they just clearly prefer Trump over him. The poll comes also as Republicans hold a slight partisan edge over Democrats, which shows that 45% of Americans are Republican or lean Republican, while 42% are Democrat or lean Democrat, per the poll. And again, I hope that more people enter in on the Democratic side. There's still time, and I think that given the fact that there's so many people running on the Republican side, Biden isn't unbeatable. And if he is to win, to win again, I think that would help push the Biden administration further along into progressive and more on the progressive path. He needs to be challenged is basically what I'm getting at. Even if he is to just win the win primary election again, he needs to be challenged more than he is now. So I'm hoping that more people jump into the race to do just that. Okay, so here's a bit more numbers from the breakdown. Okay, so asked to choose between, quote, defeating radical woke ideology and restoring law and order in our streets and at the border, 65% chose law and order compared to 24% for the ideological fight. So I guess that's showing the closer and closer we get to, debates, the actual election cycle, the more, I guess, Republicans are focusing on the policy issues that they do care about. And like the border is one of them, even though that's a culture war issue, it still is a policy issue. So the tides continue to turn against Ron DeSantis. 71% of Republican voters think that Trump has not committed serious federal crimes. Bruh. 71% think that Trump has not done anything serious. 71% are like, who cares? Who gives a shit? Trump and his legal team face the possibility of 3 civil and 2 criminal trials before Election Day, which is a little over a year from now, a year and a couple of months. If the 2 current criminal trial dates hold, Trump could largely clinch the GOP presidential nomination before voters learn whether he has been convicted on any of the charges. Speaking of the charges, let's keep on going down. Yeah, I think that was the most depressing number out of everything that we saw. That 71% of Republican primary voters are like, I think the guy's innocent. Who cares? You know what I mean? Oh yes, thank you, Stone to the Bone Dragon. This is my player poncho. You know what I'm saying? It's cold here in the basement. I'm in St. Louis. It's hot in St. Louis, but it's cold in this basement. So I got a blanket on my legs and I got a player poncho over my shoulders. But it's just really crazy to see. All right, let's see. I'm catching up with y'all. But yeah, actually, this transitions nicely. Speaking of again the cases that Trump's facing before Election Day. Speaking of that, Georgia judge slaps down Trump's bid to nix possible indictment. God, this guy, he's such a disaster. How does he ever sleep? Like seriously, even though he's as narcissistic as he is, he's got to be afraid. I mean, obviously he's afraid. How could you not be? I don't care who you are. Don't nobody want to be in prison. He probably, if he was in prison, he probably would be in some type of a resort-like prison. But still, I mean, this dude ain't had a good night's sleep in I don't know how long. Well, Georgia judge on Monday rejected Trump's attempt to wreck the Fulton County DA's potential indictment against him. In a 9-page ruling, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney said that Trump and his allies can't stop prosecutors from investigating his attempt to meddle in the 2020 presidential election results. McBurney argued that Trump hasn't been the victim he claims to be, even referencing the former president's attempts to capitalize politically off of the legal battle. Which is one of the bigger points of the whole thing, because keep in mind, Trump had a year and a half to give a lot of those documents back. But, one, he typically gets away with things. He can pay his way out of stuff. So that's just a force of habit for him. But also, he campaigns off of victimhood. His brand is everyone's against me and I need your help. So he was always going to get himself into this situation because this is just how he moves. Okay, quote. And for some, being the subject of criminal investigation can, a la Rumpelstiltskin, be turned into golden political capital, making it seem more providential than problematic, McBurney wrote. Okay, so here's some stuff from him. Okay, so this is the ruling. It says, I got this open on another page. It says, having reviewed the pleadings, the court now finds that neither Trump nor Latham enjoys standing to mount a challenge at this pre-indictment phase of the proceedings to the continued investigation into the political prosecution of possible criminal interference in the 2020 general election in Georgia. The movement's asserted injuries that would open the doors of the courthouse to their claims are either insufficient or else speculative and unrealized. They are insufficient because, while being the subject or even target of a highly publicized criminal investigation is likely an unwelcome and unpleasant experience, no court ever has held that this status alone blah, 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 legal jargon. Basically, what he said is that, you can't get no extension. You got to show up. You got to handle business. There you go. So we'll see what ends up happening. Hold on, what you say? He was posting at 3 a.m. Bro, like he doesn't, bro. Donald Trump don't be doing nothing, man. He don't be doing nothing. And when he was in office, all he did was play golf, tweet, and watch television. That's all he did. How many times did he go golfing? He went like, because he was always talking about Obama when he was golfing, and then he got in office and like golfed more than any president ever or something crazy like that. Okay. He on amphetamines, right? Brandy said that ain't no conscious thing. That boy on the amphetamines. See, and I know a thing or two about that. I know a thing or two about not sleeping because amphetamines is coursing through my central nervous system. So that is definitely that will definitely do it. MSNBC anchors crack up at Ron DeSantis' latest cringeworthy moment. Quote, "It is no wonder he is behind by 30 points." Mehdi Hassan told Ayman Moiladeen. So let's just watch for ourselves.
Ayman, I'm sorry, but before I go, we have to talk about Ron DeSantis, or rather his joke of a presidential campaign. He's already become a meme with that weird Tucker Carlson-esque laugh of his. And he's so health conscious, he'll get a Quest snack bar while cosplaying as a blue-collar worker. In fact, Ayman, here he is chatting with a child at a fairground campaign stop in Iowa earlier this week.
Oh, what is that? An icy? Yeah, that's probably a lot of sugar, huh?
I love that he shakes his hand as well. He shakes his hand and tells him there's a lot of sugar in it. He doesn't seem to know what an icy is or have seen one before, and he thinks that the appropriate on-camera response to a child eating an icy is to shame them for its sugar content. I mean, he can reboot his campaign.
Hey, you're going to get fat if you keep eating that. You better stop eating that.
As many times as he likes, but his campaign cannot change the fact that he himself is a charm-free, charisma-free, humor-free zone.
He said, "Oh, what's that? To get me like, piss off, kid. Get out of here."
Rigid, unlikable, antisocial automaton of a presidential candidate. It is no wonder he's behind by 30 points.
I mean, listen, watching Ron DeSantis do retail politics is like watching a train wreck. I mean, you can't take your eyes off of it, but it is painful, it is gut-wrenching, it is cringeworthy. And honestly, it's even something Republicans are criticizing him for. I don't know if you saw this, but
Ron DeSantis just genuinely does not know what to do in social settings. Like, he's like those guys, like dudes who like, they're around women they find attractive, or they're just around women in general, and they just start acting like ridiculous because they don't know what to do, or they'll start insulting them because they don't know what else to say. Like, they'll just start poking fun at them because like, I know, let me start making fun of her, like, because they don't know what to do. That's Ron DeSantis. He just ain't got no game with nobody, even with the children. That boy he could have said, "Oh, what flavor is it? I love ices." You know what I'm saying? I would be like, that's how I would have been. I'd be like, "What flavor is that? I'm going to take it from you if you don't get it out of my face. I love ices. Matter of fact, bring me to the truck right now. I'm going to get everybody some ices." You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't got no type of swag like that. He could have just made it a fun thing. Ices for everybody on Ron DeSantis. But he was like, "Oh, there's a lot of sugar in that. I don't know about that. That's too damn woke. The woke icy."
watch him defend himself when he was asked about doing retail politics on Megyn Kelly. Watch.
The party chairman goes to the media. They're like, "You guys were saying like he doesn't do retail, he doesn't do all this." And what we saw was the complete opposite. He came in, did a great speech. He took pictures, shook hands with every single person, that wanted to do it.
Okay, so juxtapose that DeSantis's answer with the clip of what your interaction showed and this one. Watch.
Well, I'm here. I don't know the other ones.
I'm just kidding. I'm not pressed.
Okay, all right. It's good. All right, we'll say hi to everybody.
Let's go say hi.
All right, let's go.
What do we do next?
It's like, let's go say hi to everyone. I guess we've got to say hi to everyone. I mean,
what do I do next?
Hold on.
Want to do it.
Okay, so juxtapose that DeSantis's answer with the clip of what your interaction showed and this one. Watch.
always. Yeah.
Well, I'm here. I don't know if the
I'm
other
just
one's
kidding.
out
I'm
there.
not pressed.
Okay, all right. It's good. All right, we'll say hi to everybody.
All right, we'll say hi to everybody.
Let's go say hi.
All right, let's go.
What do we do next?
It's like, let's go say hi to everyone. I guess we got to say hi to everyone. I mean,
What do I do next? Where do I go?
Have you ever seen a more robotic, more inauthentic performance? I mean, that lacks any sincerity or humanity from a candidate like that. Remember, this was the guy that conservatives said was going to be the future of the party, and yet he can't even fake being relatable.
Look, I mean, he honestly, like, I suggest, like, for people who maybe you should take a couple of shots or something, because that's what I do when I'm in social settings, even professional social settings. I'm not talking about getting drunk, but when I'm in professional social settings and it's like a kind of some type of an event where you got to be social, talk to everybody. I'm probably gonna take 2 or 3 shots of tequila, because then when that happens, I'm just gonna be a blast. I'm just gonna be in a really good time. You feel me? Like, again, not drunk but tipsy, so that I'm gonna be talking to everybody, having a good time. Just like, because really that's what it's all about. Having you want people to like you, but also you want to like them. You want people to feel like, oh, this guy just genuinely enjoys me. He likes hanging out, and that's some of what that oil can do. You feel me? You oil yourself up a little bit. But you see what I'm getting at? It's like, do something. You feel me? Like, but he just really he sucks at this, and it's hilarious to see.
I mean, he wasn't just supposed to be the future of the party. He was supposed to be Trump without the baggage.
Yes.
And it turns out he's Trump without the humor, Trump without the charisma, Trump without any kind of charm.
Yeah, bro, I'm 6'6", over 200 pounds, and my metabolism is fast as hell. Yeah, I need me something. You feel me? 1, 2, 3. You feel me? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm in there jazzing. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there having a good time. But yeah, maybe not 3, but at least 2, no less than 2. You feel me? And we gone ahead. But again, like, you really don't have to be all that sophisticated. Just have a good time with people, especially if it's at something like this. Like, that's what people will really remember you for. It's like, man, I like that guy.
Or personality, and then they wonder why Trump keeps winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I have a feeling as long as he stays in the race, we're going to have a lot more clips like that to enjoy, my friend. Great show as always. It's good to see you.
Is that an icy?
Lay off the sugar, kid.
All right, lay off the Snickers. Oh yeah, no, I definitely don't need the tequila now. I don't need it now. I ain't saying I need it, but yeah, no, I'll be you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's around, like, and that's why they have alcohol at a lot of events like that, because it's really just about connecting with people, and you can get to all that business stuff later. You feel me? Like, so we have, let's see, I think we have one more political related one, and then the other 3 that we have are just fun, non-political related stories. So we just saw a little bit of something. Yeah, Ron, no, because if he took some shots, he may end up being even worse. Ron DeSantis just ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? He just ain't got it. Because if he took some shots, he may just turn into an asshole. And if he, like, did some amphetamine or something before, like, that wouldn't necessarily give him a personality. It would just give him energy. You know what I'm saying? So that may make him even worse. He's just screwed. But let's see what they have to say. Megyn Kelly grills Ron DeSantis on free speech, asks how his war against Bud Light and Disney isn't viewpoint discrimination. Let's see what's up.
You, in my view, are pretty quick to use the power of the state against certain corporations so you don't like these woke corporations. Disney, after it attacked your Parental Rights and Education Act, Anheuser-Busch recently for hurting the pension investments you said of Floridians. With
Devontae, well, I appreciate you, and I'm happy that you caught this one live, because we are having a good one. It's a good Monday. It's a beautiful Monday. One of them is from Chip Chick. We're not going to go all into it. The title is just funny. The other 2 are not.
The whole Bud Light debacle. Much as the base is angry at these woke corporations, and I get it, and I know you get it, aren't you doing the very thing to these companies?
If that boy take an Adderall and a shot, he gonna have a heart attack. You gonna be careful. You gonna be careful mixing amphetamine and alcohol together. You got to be careful mixing alcohol with most stuff. Alcohol doesn't go well with most things.
that conservatives
It does, but it doesn't. You know what I'm saying.
are mad at left-wing leaders for doing, using government to punish citizens for political wrongthink.
No, not at all. So taking Anheuser-Busch, I mean, we're not punishing them. They departed from business practices by indulging in social activism. That has caused a huge problem for their company, and their stock price has gone down. Well, our pension fund in Florida holds Anheuser-Busch InBev stock. So it's actually hurt teachers, it's hurt cops, it hurts firefighters who depend on that pension fund. And so
Didn't you support the boycott against them?
No, I did, but that's just as a personal thing. But I mean, we didn't have like the state government, necessarily, putting power about it. But as an American, I said I'm not doing I'm not doing Bud Light. But for this, we're defending the people that are beneficiaries of the pension. When you go, look, the wokeness. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, when they're trying to throw an agenda down your throat, you don't like it. But it does have an impact on the economy. It has an impact on people who hold stock. And that's not just rich people, that's those people. So with InBev, they departed from their fiduciary duty, and so we're investigating.
How can you say they departed? I'm not in favor of the Bud Light thing at all, but how can you say they departed from their fiduciary duty? They sent a beer can to this very controversial person, which upset the consumers, and the consumers had their say. But how is that a departure from their, and how does this?
Yeah, I mean, it's really not more complicated than that. There were a group of people who were upset about the fact that Bud Light did a branding campaign with a transgender activist. And that's really not unique. Budweiser has been around for a very long time. They do branding campaigns all the time, just like Gatorade and Powerade and Pepsi and Coca-Cola do branding campaigns with all types of people all the time. It's not unique. Like there really was nothing particularly special whatsoever about this branding campaign. Right-wing media outlets just picked it up and made a fuss over it. That's it. You feel me? Other than that, it's not new.
State get involved in that?
How is that something that is helping their shareholders or helping their company's value?
But how is that for you to weigh in on?
It's not because I have people in Florida that were injured by the company's decline as a result of that. These are people that rely on the pension.
Again, this is a nice way for him to try to deflect, but at the same, and it's actually, again, like literally politically, this is a good way to deflect from that. But if that was the case, he should have focused on this the whole time, politically speaking, strategically speaking. He should have, from the jump, been talking about you're messing up pensions and Floridians need this. That's not what he focuses on. He focuses on woke this, woke that, woke that, woke this. So again, that's actually a decent strategy in terms of getting an agenda passed and using rhetoric that will sell better than woke this, woke that. But that's not how he's approached this.
Disney is a different issue than this, but we have to say companies should do their job. If they depart from that and they harm people, then you have an opportunity to potentially have recourse. Now, Disney was an issue where they came after the state of Florida.
Yes.
When we were doing fortifying parental rights, saying at that time it was K-3, no gender ideology or any of that in the schools. And to me, that was not a huge leap. I mean, that's common sense. Why would you want to tell a second grader that they may have been born in the wrong body? That is happening around this country. And we said in Florida, we're not. So they came in against us, and they're very powerful in Florida. They usually get whatever they want. So we stood up and we said, no, we're going to do what's best for students and parents. We're not going to kowtow to Disney. Then after I signed the bill, they put out a statement saying they were going to make it a mission to see that the bill was repealed or overturned in court.
Right.
So they said they were taking their corporate resources to basically attack parents' rights in Florida and overturn a core state policy. So we had to then make a decision, and the legislature started saying, well, wait a minute. Disney is getting these benefits that they've had for a long time. Maybe we should reevaluate it. And then when you looked at what they got, unbelievable arrangement that they had that no other individual or no other company in the entire state enjoyed. So Florida, from many decades ago, was joined at the hip with this one company. They started going down the road of sexualizing children. We just could not be joined at the hip with a company that was doing that. That's antithetical to our values in Florida. So what we said is, you don't get to control your own government. You don't get to be exempt from laws and taxes. You're going to live under the same laws as everybody else. You're going to be treated like SeaWorld. You're going to be treated like Universal. So that's actually good policy That's taking away corporate welfare and putting everybody on a level playing field. But we could not be, I mean, I couldn't look in the mirror as a parent of a 6, 5, and 3-year-old knowing that this company was getting benefits from, and these are not benefits I gave them, this is many, many decades ago, that they were doing that given the direction that they're going with kids. I draw the line at protecting kids. We are going to protect our kids, and we will take on big corporations.
We're gonna protect our kids. That's why he said there's a lot of sugar in that kid. Throw, like dish the icy. Like, he'd be like he handing out cups of celery to everybody. Celery and carrots.
To do
So are you suggesting you would have done this irrespective of them criticizing and fighting your Parents and Education Act? I mean, that this had nothing to do with their stance on your law?
Well, obviously, they're supporting sexualizing kids in Florida schools. I mean, they were putting their corporate weight behind ensuring that that could happen. So, of course, that was a factor. But another
that's
factor,
that's an admission that they were punished by you, in part, by the state,
it's not
for
a
their
punishment.
political viewpoint.
It's not a punishment. So that was part of it. Then they had the Zoom videos that were put out where these Disney executives were acknowledging that they wanted to inject the sexualization into their programming.
Yes, I understand. That's different, and that's less controversial.
Well, but that was part of the decision where the legislature, the support to maintain this arrangement just collapsed, and we were in a situation where he said, okay, this is a company that's pursuing this direction with respect to children. That is fundamentally hostile to the state of Florida's policies.
Okay, but how is it not viewpoint discrimination? We talked about 303 Creative, you and I, private.
Oh, she's really she is really sticking it, staying on this. She's like, no, you are going to explain to me how this isn't viewpoint discrimination. I hear what you're saying, and you're saying the same thing over and over again, but explain to me how this isn't hypocritical.
About the U.S. Supreme Court case that just came down. They held in that case, they reminded us that citizens in this country are free to speak as they wish and not as the government demands. So why can't Disney oppose your law?
They can.
And why can't they promote this agenda in their viewpoint?
They can.
Without being punished by the state?
They're not being punished. We're just simply removing special benefits that they have had that really weren't justifiable.
They were worse off when it was done than they were before they spoke out.
Well, no, I mean, it was, first of all, we didn't actually do anything to Disney. There was a government that had been in place that they had effectively corrupted, which was not the way it was supposed to be, by the way, if you look at how this started in '68. So we changed the governing structure, which really didn't even impact them directly. They're just indirectly, they don't like it because, they don't get to call the shots anymore. But they are not entitled to corporate welfare. You do not have a constitutional right to corporate welfare.
I know that, but it's not about an entitlement.
No,
it's
she's really not letting him go, because I'm just about to say, okay, well then what about all these other corporations that you let him get away with it?
If I go to my boss and I say, you sexually harassed me, and then suddenly he reduces my salary from $200,000 to $100,000, that's retaliation. I am worse off. And it's not a defense to say, well, everybody else at the company was getting $100,000. You've reduced my circumstance. You punished me.
No, but that's an employer-employee relationship. I think that's much different.
But this is the state taking away a benefit.
But your position is basically that Florida should be forced to subsidize Disney regardless of how it's going to use those subsidies, so that they can weaponize the subsidies they get from the state and turn it against state policy. Why would we want to subsidize that behavior?
Well,
Why should Florida taxpayers
I get
have to underwrite that?
But I don't want a President Gavin Newsom doing this to conservative companies or companies who have a more conservative viewpoint.
Well, here's what I would say. I don't think there's any arrangement in America that mirrored the arrangement Disney had in Florida for many, many decades. I mean, I think it was a unique situation where we just could not justify, how could you be exempt from laws that every other company in business has to follow, an individual? How could you be exempt from taxes? How could you rack up municipal debt on your own when they didn't have it? So, and they had powers to build their own nuclear power plant. They had extraterritorial eminent domain.
They had a lot of that.
If you lived in a subdivision outside of Disney, they actually had the right to seize your property if they wanted to expand beyond the district. So this was something that was just totally, totally unjustifiable, but it lived.
Yeah, and you're saying all this retroactively because the only reason you started up the whole beef with Disney in the first place is because the former CEO, before Bob Iger got back in there, had the nerve to say that he didn't like what you was doing because, he, as Disney, he felt it was good for the company to stick up for a huge chunk of their consumer base.
lived on. And
so at the end of the day, Brandy, you're right. You pointed it out. She's just defending corporations, but he can't answer the question because he knows he's full of it.
Florida for many, many decades because they were just so powerful. But take apart all of the stuff with the sexualization of children, all that, just on the merits, was this an arrangement that was justifiable? And the answer is no, but no one really questioned it in the legislature because they enjoyed a lot of political sway.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Proceeding.
I mean, hey, if that's the best he can do, then that's the best he can do. Okay, so now that concludes not the stream, but the political part of the stream. We now have 3 more stories that we gonna get into that are just for the enjoyment, just for our enjoyment. And y'all know, I'm always telling y'all about what's it called? About that Chip Chick website. That damn Chip Chick website, man. Go ahead and get your bowl loaded. Take a swig of your coffee. If you drinking this early, it's about 1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Central time. It ain't too early no more, so I ain't gonna judge you if you're taking a drink. But go ahead and join me. But listen, tell her she can send them this way. Then, if he don't want them, she can send them over here. You feel me? She sent steamy photos to what she thought was her. Oh, this. Oh no, this is the wrong one. This isn't the right story. This is actually the wrong story. But you see, this website is so entertaining. You know what I'm saying? That you never know what you gonna find here. Oh yeah, that bar behind me. Yeah, that's some real stuff back there. Y'all, I'm sorry. This isn't even the story that I meant to open. Hold up. Because the one I opened was even funnier. I'm telling you, man, y'all got to go to this. The other 2 is some videos. Hold up. This is the wrong one. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna open up the right one. Oh man, I can't find the original one. But the original one, I was finna say, look, listen, she can send them to me. Look, this is the original one. I'm finna show y'all right now. But I can't find it on the website though. Oh, Fritz, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. And just on time. It's a beautiful Monday. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Like I said, I can't wait till we get that Fritz merch going because you already know we're going to do it. But thank you so much. And I appreciate all of y'all for joining. And Kevin, again, I'm glad that you were able to join us today, given the fact that you got a new gig. Congratulations to the new gig. But Fritz, thank you so much. Thank you so much, my dear, my darling. Now, this is what I was gonna show y'all, but I can't find the original one for some reason. I was finna say, look, she sent her new boyfriend some steamy photos, but he deleted them and told her that wasn't a classy thing to do. She can send them to me then. Tell her to send them to me. You feel me? Like, I mean, yeah, if you don't want them, then go ahead and send them this way. That was gonna be the one I was gonna say. We got videos to watch of the other ones, but man, that Chip Chick website is ridiculous, man. Let's get it. Oh, La Cita, you must be over there in Cali. She out there in California. But right, I was finna be like, yo, go ahead and send them my way then. Cause it was the wrong article, the only one I pulled up, but send them out. That isn't classy, like. She got to get her rocks off. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to get their rocks off. Now, let's check out some of this science right now. Before we check out this bro science and see if there's any accuracy. People be crazy, man. Car theft suspect spends 12 plus hours atop radio tower in a tip to avoid police. Oh, Brandy, appreciate you for being here. We will be back on tomorrow for certain. You have a good one. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, look, people be crazy, man. Car theft suspect spends 12 plus hours atop radio tower in attempt to avoid police. I mean, look, bro, give it up, man. Give it up. Everybody can see you. Like, what? He just gonna stay up here till they'll go away eventually. Like, nah, they ain't gonna go away, bro.
Details after a man climbs a radio tower to escape police in Thornton. Officers say 36-year-old Julian Fernandez was wanted for car theft, and after he ran from officers, he was seen jumping a fence over on Riverdale Road. Fernandez was on that tower, as you see in this picture, for more than 12 hours yesterday. It did take a harness and help from officers for him to come down safely. He was taken to the hospital, cleared of any injuries, and then arrested.
Oh man, imagine how he felt while he was up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, first of all, obviously, you know, man, if only I wouldn't have taken the car. But then you have nowhere to run, so you go all the. He had to have been high. He had to have been high on something. I don't know, but like, who else would do this? Who else would do something like this other than somebody who was very high? Like, he gonna climb up to the top and he gonna fly away. Boy, it was on meth or something. Okay, hold on. Let me open this up a little bit. Yo, look how high he climbed up, bro. He was all the way up there. Man, this dude was on meth or something, man. Who the hell who would do this? Who the hell would do this? Right. He ain't afraid of heights because that meth took that fear away from him. That's high, bro. He was up high. Like, bro, where the hell did you think you was going? I know, right? Look at how high he was. And they going up there trying to get him. Like, bruh, somebody needs to give him a job. Because they be having jobs where they gotta climb up and do stuff like this. Maybe that's his calling. You know, sometimes you know, life pulls us into purpose in the most unexpected of ways. And I think that this is definitely one of them because, bruh, look at him. This like some anime shit. Right, Superman would. Bruh, come on. God. I can tell you that he was at the top of the tower for well over 12 hours. In the end, as the climbers were moving up to try again, Julian began to climb down to meet the rescuers. About 3/4 of the way up the tower, they were able to get him into a harness and safely take him down at that point. Bro, that's, oh my God. Yo, that's I wish we could have seen the whole chase. Right, she on that Randy Jackson. Right, Mara. I don't know what the hell was going on with this dude. Right, because if he was on meth, he probably would have tried to jump off or something. I don't know what I don't know what to tell you because that was hold up. I'm trying to open up this other story. They're trying to get me to, man, hold up. They're trying to get me to do to join this site for us to watch this last video. I'm gonna get it together for you though. I'm gonna get it together for you. We smoking now anyway, so put on something smooth while I open this up for you. Oh. Just give me a moment. Oh, they really on that BS. They trying to make this difficult to get to. Oh yeah, I did see the Pee Wee Herman. I did see that. I just got the what's it called? A notification for that. Oh my god, just give me the location. Okay, I got you. Hold on, y'all. Because I want to make sure that we go over this together. I want to make sure that we go over it together. I'm going to just have to go straight to YouTube. Okay, here we go. I got y'all. Y'all just had to give me a moment, but I got you. So now, yeah, 70 ain't that old no more. It's just a nice groove, ain't it? So we about to see what's up with this right here, right? Why men get so few matches on dating apps. I haven't watched this, but I thought this would be a fun way for us to close it out. One more hit, then we're gonna get into this and see what they talking about. Right, exactly. Kevin, you already know the vibes. You already know. Oh, perfect too, because the vibes just went out. All right, so let's see what they're talking about. Why men get so few matches on dating apps. Let's see if there's any validity to this, because I know guys who, again, I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about, but so much of, I mean, yeah, you want to take as good a care of yourself as you can. You know, I mean, you want to shower and clean yourself and keep yourself up, but so much of attraction, especially sexual attraction, is about energy and confidence in yourself. It's so much more about energy than looks, because some of the women who I've been the most attracted to and had the best sex with were, I guess what you could consider more average looking women. I've had a lot of fun with very, very aesthetically beautiful women too, but oftentimes, that was some of the worst sex I've had is women who are just, whoa, you look amazing. But so much more of that is about energy and confidence in yourself. And again, not just about sex, but just generally enjoying being with someone. So let's see what they have to say. Because again, I know a lot of dudes who really ain't nothing special to look at, and they don't have no problems with women. So here we go. And a lot of dudes who are great looking, but they got a lot of problems. So let's do it.
Two friends install a dating app and try their luck. The man tries to set up the perfect profile. A nice front picture, a group picture to make it seem like he has friends, a picture in Paris to make it seem like he's cultured.
No, it's gonna be slow. Let me take this down.
And a picture climbing mountains to make it seem like he's adventurous. After some hard work, the profile is ready. The woman doesn't feel safe sharing a lot of personal information, so she chooses the first picture she can find, and she's ready to go. They start swiping and hope for the best. At the end of the day, when the woman checks her phone, her like counter is full. Practically every profile she likes is an instant match. Soon she's overwhelmed by the amount of matches and messages in her inbox. For the man, it's a different story. So far, he has only received a couple of likes and has 0 matches. He becomes frustrated with the app and starts questioning his self-image. He puts so much effort into setting up a nice profile after all. Why can't he get any matches? To answer that question, we need to understand the numbers behind dating apps. I made a simulation of a dating app with 1,000 dummies to try to understand why men get so few matches. Dating apps can paint a distorted picture of what the real dating world is like. Some studies indicate that dating apps can have a negative impact on self-esteem.
The dude talking in the video kind of sounds like AI. I know he isn't.
With a stronger effect on men, and women often have to find strategies to deal with intrusive behavior from men in these apps. It's hard to understand exactly what's going on inside these apps because there's very little data available. However, we can make educated guesses based on the little information we have. I'll start with an ideal, unrealistic scenario, and we'll see how quickly things change when I start adding real-life variables. A side note, we're talking about dating with opposite genders. Same gender dating in dating apps has very different dynamics and is out of scope for this video. Since we're trying to make an ideal scenario, let's assume we have the same amount of men and women using the app. Let's also assume that everyone sees 100 profiles per day and that every profile is treated equally by the algorithm. I'm going to assume that users like 1 out of 4 profiles they see. This means every user has a probability of 25% of being liked every time their profile is shown. Some of these parameters aren't realistic, but that's okay. We're gonna start like this and make it more realistic as we go. So, how many likes and matches will everyone get at the end of the day? Let's run the simulation. Okay, not too bad. On average, both women and men.
No, man, one of the things that kills me about stuff like this is, I mean, there's validity to a lot of information that may come out, but it's just really not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, so much of what goes into this type of content, and I don't know nothing about this channel for real, but it's like these guys who sit around and talk about this stuff all day. It's like, bro, just go outside. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go outside, you'll see that there's, most, people are paired up, people are dating, people are having a good time, and they're doing it in their own way. You know what I'm saying? Like people really aren't all doing everything in the quote unquote traditional way anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just really not that hard. These guys who sit on the internet all day just make it so complicated. Like we're gonna do a study and we're gonna break all these numbers down, and it's like, bruh, it's not that serious, man.
Get 25 likes and 6 matches per day. So why does this look different from real dating apps? Let's start with reason number 1. There are more male than female users. I was able to find user gender data for Tinder and Bumble, 2 of the most popular dating apps in the world. In both apps, there were significantly more men using the app than women. In our simulation, I'm going to keep it simple and assume we have 2 men for every woman, a ratio somewhere between Tinders and Bumbles. I ran the simulation.
And that's very true. There's a lot more men on dating. So again, like when you really break a lot of this stuff down, it makes practical sense. And oftentimes like there's this, and it doesn't seem like that's what this guy's doing, but oftentimes they spin it like, well, women today are just nefarious and they're out to get you because they have all these options. And it's like, it's really not more complicated than dating apps are kind of just, it's kind of like beating around the bush. You certainly can meet great people on there, but it's just one avenue. It's just an app, so oftentimes women just aren't all that caught up in it, especially if you're getting all these matches because there are so many more men on there. It's just not it's pretty practical to think, oh, she's just overwhelmed with all this cheap attention from men, and a lot of women, they don't even they'll have dating apps, but people don't take dating apps that seriously. I mean, again, you can meet people on there, but it's just another social media profile at the end of the day.
Again, and the differences were big. I'm gonna give you a chance to pause the video in case you want to try to guess how many likes and matches users get. We now start to see the first signs of a gender imbalance in the results. Because there are 2 men for every woman, the number of likes received by the women doubled and the number of likes received by the men halved. And when we look at the number of matches, something interesting happens. Women received an average of 50 likes. Since they like 1 out of 4 profiles, you would expect them to get an average of 12 or 13 matches. However, they only get 6. That's because now there are so many male users that women don't even get a chance to see half of the users that like them. They only see 100 profiles per day, and there are just too many men in the queue. At this point, it makes sense that women start to feel a bit overwhelmed by the amount of likes they receive. Because they often encounter intrusive behavior from men, that also makes them think carefully about who they give likes to. Men, on the other hand, are starting to get a bit desperate.
It seems like he's just kind of pragmatically breaking this down. And again, you can certainly meet people on dating apps, but the thing is, it's just a cheap way to do so. So, if you meet people in person in some type of way, maybe it's in some type of community that you're a part of, whether that be like a church community or a sporting community, a political community, anything like that, a dance community, whatever. You feel me? It's not even that you meet better people on there. Like, oh, everyone on dating apps sucks, because it's just regular people on dating apps. But when you get to meet somebody in person, you get to feel their vibe, their energy, maybe have something already in common with them. So, again, it's just dating apps cheapen the experience, but the people on dating apps are just regular people.
Because they don't get a lot of likes, they know they can't be too picky and start giving likes more generously to improve their chances of getting matches. Which leads us to reason number 2. Men give more likes than women. According to this New York Times article from 2014, men are nearly 3 times as likely to like a profile than women on Tinder. So let's use those numbers. I'm updating the simulations that women and men give likes in 14 and 46% of cases respectively. So how do you think this is going to change the results? Now the gender imbalance increases even further. Women get an average of
So just in general, like, especially now where I'm at in my life, you realize you have to go through a lot and you have to experience things. But so much of being okay in dating is just being okay with you and having, when I say having your life together, I don't necessarily mean like, like you have everything together, but having yourself together such that you don't need from people what they shouldn't be giving you. You provide your own validation and self-worth that comes from you, and therefore you don't, that keeps you from being codependent with people, that keeps you from being overly attached. Like, you don't have to be afraid of that type of stuff. And a lot of the people in these communities, in these spaces, that they're terrified of loving, and they're terrified of positivity with women, or vice versa. There's definitely your spaces where you got like extremist feminists, but just in terms of stuff like this, people in that regard who are talking about relationships, there's just kind of a fear of connection. It's like, oh, once you get connected, once you get attached, it's all gonna go downhill from there. And it's like, that's more of a you thing. You know what I'm saying? Because once you know how to move about, you know what to look for. You don't get overly involved with people that you shouldn't be. You don't necessarily judge people for not being for you either. So it just becomes easy. It's not like, oh, these bitches, man. You know how these hoes do. You know these hoes. Like, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even deal with that. And then too, you just develop skills over time. But you got to get out here in the real world and touch grass to do it. You feel me? You can't just sit on the internet all the time.
92 likes, whereas men only get 7. And because men like 46% of the users they see, these 7 likes result on an average of 3.2 matches. Women get twice as many.
Sunflower Sunshine, that is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for being here.
An average of 6.4 matches per day. But things can get even more complicated for the average male user. Attractiveness is subjective, but the reality is that some profiles will be considered attractive by more users than others. Which brings us to reason number 3. A small share of the users get a big share of the likes. In a Q&A post from 2017 on Hinge's official website, one of the engineers behind the dating app shares some data about this imbalance. He mentioned that certain people get exponentially more attention than others. He reported that about half the likes from men were given to about 25% of women, and half the likes from women were given to only 15% of men.
And this is where all the anger in this community comes from. They're like, oh, you see, women, they're out there, they only want the guys on this. But it's like, bruh, like, it's a dating app. Like, it again, it cheapens the experience. So it's just looks. That's all you're going off of. You don't know nothing about these people. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about these people, so they're just swiping because it's like, oh, he's hot. Oh, he looks good. You feel me? But in real life, you end up seeing women who you can see the hottest woman on earth being with, a guy who, she probably gonna be with no ugly dude, but a dude who isn't as good looking as she is because they met in real life or they met in some type of situation like that. You feel me? So it's like, bruh, go outside. Like, it's not that serious. If dating apps ain't working for you, then do something else. You feel me? Like, go be social. Go do something. It's not that big of a deal.
This means that, especially with men, there's a small segment of users that get a large slice of the total likes. Let's try to include that in our simulation. I'm giving every user a score from 0 to 100% that determines how attractive they are perceived by other users. Until now, attractiveness has had no impact on the probability of getting likes. That means that every time a profile was shown, the probability of that profile being liked was 46 and 14% for women and men respectively, regardless of their perceived attractiveness. I'm now looking for a new distribution such that the top users get exponentially more likes, but while making sure the average like percentages stay the same. I went for the simplest formulas I could come up with, and you can find my assumptions on the screen in case you're interested. Basically, I assume that users with an attractiveness score of 0 have 0% chance of getting likes, and users with an attractiveness score of 100 have a 100% chance of receiving a like. This is admittedly an oversimplification.
Like, I be trying, like, again, like these dudes who spend too much time on this, especially, like when I'm really, together, when I'm good and like I'm all fresh and stuff, like, I'm about as good looking gets. And it doesn't, anything by itself doesn't mean that much. Looks by themselves don't mean that much. Money by itself don't mean that much. Status by itself don't mean that much. You feel me? Like, you end up connecting with people more than you connect with any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just because someone likes to look at you doesn't mean that they actually want to be involved with you. You feel me? So, and especially too, like for me now, like, like when you really have dated enough women, you start to see that no, like all this crap that these dudes are saying online is just not true. It's just not. You feel me? Like, women aren't out here just running around with everybody. Some of them are, but for the most part, they ain't doing that. Men ain't doing that for the most part either. People got lives to live. People got bills to pay, jobs to work, kids to take care of. People have been through hard experiences, so then their interest in running around just disappear. Like, people really don't be out here doing that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just got to get out of your own way.
But since I couldn't find any real data, I'm trying to keep it as
Again, especially me now, like, even though like I'm in a position to where like the more successful I become, sure, like you'll have people like, oh, Jackson, oh, but like, like for instance, like I'm in a non-traditional relationship. So a lot of women hear that, they like, no, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm open and honest. And before they hear that, they're like, oh, yes. And then they may hear what's up with that and be like, nah, I don't want to sleep with you because you see what I'm saying? So like it's really not that complicated, man. Women just want to, for the most part, have a good, healthy connection with somebody because they're human beings. That's all any of us really want. We just want good, healthy connections with people. Like, it's really not that complicated, bro. Like, I can't tell you how many women don't give a fuck that I'm 6'6" and all this and bro. Find your woman. Find the women who like you. You feel me? Like, it's not that hard, man.
as simple as I can. With these curves, 50% of the likes given by men go to the top 27% of women, and 50% of the likes given by women go to the top 10% of men, which is quite close to the numbers reported by Hinge, so this should be reasonably accurate. Let's run our final simulation. You can try to guess the results now.
And two, dating apps, just like any other platform, are designed to keep you on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they're for. They're designed to keep you looking at people. Just like Instagram or anything else is designed, well, now X, not Twitter, is designed to keep you on it. So you feel me? Like, people got to go outside and touch grass, man.
This was a bit of a trick question. The numbers stay the same. The difference is, now the distribution is skewed by the top users who get most of the likes.
Nah, I don't. I'm sure I'll talk about it as things continue, but I don't know if she would be comfortable with that. And two, I don't know how much of that of people in my life I want the internet to see, because people be crazy out here. So I don't really know if I want her to be subject to that type of stuff, because people are just not nice. I could take it, but I don't really want her to have to deal with that. But we'll see. We'll see if but at this point, I don't really think that she would enjoy being looked at and seen. But we'll see what's up, because I'll definitely continue to talk about it.
That means that the averages no longer describe the experience of the average user. So let's add a new metric, the median. In other words, how many likes and matches does the average user?
That's one thing. Look, if you gonna be seen and watched, then you got to be ready for people to be not nice. Because people on the internet are just not nice.
Get. And now we can see the average male user only receives 1 like and 0 matches. If you look at the average number of likes for different attractiveness scores, you see that the top 10%.
They be seeing this, they be mad. They be mad.
Of male
They're sluts. They're just out here sleeping with everybody. Like, no, bro, they're not. They're really not.
Users get 37 likes on average, whereas the average users get somewhere between 0 and 1 like. And if you look at the average number of matches, something interesting happens. The top 10% of men actually get more matches than the top 10% of women. They get fewer likes, but because they're less selective than women, they actually manage to get more matches. I wonder if this also happens in real life.
Not really. He just said, I wonder if this happens. See, yeah, man, this dude doesn't go outside. The fact that I wonder, see, and that highlights so much of this community. And this guy, he's not like spewing a bunch of misogyny, so I'm not gonna hold his fire to that and act like he is. But that's where so much. I wonder if it's like that in real life. Like, nah, bro, not really. Like, it's really not like that. Like, people have lives to live. People don't have time to just be out here running around with everybody.
As I tried to make my simulation more realistic, the number of likes received by the average man went down from 25 to 12 to 7 to 1. Once again, this was just my attempt to simulate a dating app based on the little information that I could find. It may or may not describe your experience with dating apps. For example, I couldn't find data for the number of profiles users see every day, so I just assumed it was 100. And I didn't include factors like different cultures and demographics, and the impact of premium subscriptions that give advantages to paying users. Nonetheless, the simulation helped me understand what's probably happening inside these dating apps. So, what are the key takeaways here? This video is by no means making an argument against the use of dating apps. Meeting online has become the most popular way US couples connect. So, dating apps do work, and many relationships were made possible thanks to them. My personal takeaway of this video is that, due to the reasons that I mentioned, dating apps can give us a distorted perspective of the actual dating world. And I think we should be aware of the impact this can have on the experience and self-esteem of the users. Because in the end, I think this imbalance can be harmful for both.
Yeah, I mean, you just like anything else, you just don't want to get too caught up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you definitely can meet great people off of it. I met, I actually met my shorty off a dating app that I'm with now. You feel me? So like, it's an easy way to meet people, but I think that so much of what happens is people just put too much of it. It's interesting, man. Like, we put so much of our value into what other people think of us all the time. You know what I'm saying? We put so much of our value into that, and we forget that we decide our own value. And like I said, when you know how to move, you know what to look for. You're not gonna be out here terrified of connection, because you ain't gonna let yourself get too caught up in nothing. You feel me? But it's just the app. The app is a cheaper experience, and it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense. Like, every time you look up, there's all these likes and all these likes. Like, I mean, it's cheap. Like, you're not really gonna want to invest that much into it. And then, like, that same woman who every guy thinks like, oh, thinks she's too good for the world. She could meet a dude at some random Walgreens or something. She could meet a dude at a random CVS, and he just, maybe she has a kid and he's there with his kid, and she thinks it's cute or sexy the way he makes his daughter laugh or something like that. Man, women be liking the most random shit about dudes. Like, oh, I like the way that he wiggles his toe when he sits down. I just love it. Like, you know, man, women are complicated, but not really. You feel me? So much of what makes women less mystified and less complicated is when you just, again, you just don't put too much of yourself into an expectation. Like, oh, like, bruh, relax. It's not that serious, my man. It's not that serious. Even when things are rough, you still got to be able to have enough of yourself to not get too deep into it. You can be very in love and not lose yourself. It is possible. Because often what'll end up ruining relationships, or like what ends up causing strife, is it'll be like it's things like, you took 3 hours to text me back. Like, I'm telling you, bro, it'd be stuff like that that just sends things spinning into chaos, bro. Like, sometimes it's legitimate things. Don't get me wrong. A lot of the time, people have relationship issues for legitimate reasons. I'm not saying they don't. If not, but a lot of relationship issues just be people dealing with themselves, man. You know what I'm saying? Like dealing with their past and dealing with like their own anxiety, their own fear of being abandoned. So much of relationships is just you dealing with you. There's one thing I've learned, man. So much of relationships is just you dealing with yourself. It really is, man. And I think that that's why relationships, intimate relationships, whether they be heterosexual relationships, homosexual relationships, whatever, truly intimate relationships, one of the biggest reasons they allow for us to grow so much is because they make you struggle and wrestle with yourself more than anything else. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you got to get your feet wet out here. And these dudes who be making this type of content, they ain't got their feet wet. They ain't got no they don't have no real valuable experience with women. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have anything that they really have learned from. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, I fucked a lot of bitches. Like, one, you probably haven't. And two, so what? Who cares? You can go pay for that. You can go buy sex. You can literally go to the corner and pay for that. Like, literally. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, have you lived with any women before? Have you been in relationships for multiple years? Like, do you have any kids? Have you ever gotten a woman pregnant and then she had to get an abortion and then you had to like deal with all the, like what that really does to women? Like, I don't know any women who just like, oh, I love getting abortions. That's typically a very hard thing, a hard decision to make, and just what women's bodies go through when they're in the process. Like,